What's going on, everybody? Keegan coming back at you with a brand new installment of the macombmetalcore podcast. I know it's been a while. I say this all the time. I'm sorry. I'm trying. We'll be back in the real studio real soon. And so then we can get real content in a real studio instead of this makeshift studio that we have going on because we did a little bit of slight rearranging. So now we're live to you from our couch, and the couch is caving in, but that's okay. So we're back with a new video, and there's a band who has been catching my eye lately, and I shouldn't say lately. They've always been like a band who I've been a fan of, but it was always like real on the back end, slight and simple. That I was never a huge fan of, but I was like, yeah, they're cool. But this band dropped, in my opinion, the second best album of 2022. Second best album of 2022. And the album before that is the one that actually caught my attention first. And so, that's the reason I gave the new album a shot. They came out last year. And then I was like, you know what? This is a very, very good band. And I need to see them. So back in, I want to say March, I was lucky enough to see these guys live, and they blew me away. And ever since that day in March, they have been one of my favorite bands. They're my number 2 artist of 2023 so far, only behind Morgan Wallen. So they're my number 1 metal artist. I guess we could put it that way. So they're number 1. And that's the Devil Wears Prada. They're old. No, they've been doing this for a while, I think 20 years or something, almost 20 years or something crazy, and they're still putting out bangers. Now their stuff isn't as real thrash metalcore as it was in the past. It's more melodic now. It's kind of more radio, but they're still really heavy. And they got a lot of heavy tracks, and one of my favorite parts about them is that they're very, very good lyrically. And just a lot of songs, you think of Cancer by them, which is a song that's on their new album. The chorus goes I hope that it's cancer, not something else. So what's that say about myself? And if you think about that, because it was written by their keyboardist, I believe, and his friend died, and that was the first thing he thought, and he thought he was a bad guy for it. And then he was like, no, this is a real problem in our world, is that it's getting to the point where I'm hoping that it was cancer so that it wasn't actual harm or anything like that, which is really sad. And so they're very, very good lyrically. And this entire new album was very, very good lyrically. And recently they've put out a deluxe version. The deluxe version comes out, I want to say next week, May 4th or May 5th or May 2nd or something like that. I think it's the first weekend in March or whatever. But anyway, and the 2 tracks that they've released from the deluxe version are absolutely phenomenal. I've been meaning to do this track for 4 days, and it's caught my attention. It's caught my eye, and I wanted to talk about it because I love this song and I loved Reaching as well. But the Devil Wears Prada are legends of metalcore. They almost invented metalcore, honestly, with Des Moines and Danger Wildman are 2 of the most important songs in metalcore history. And if you listen to those songs and you compare them to now, two completely different bands, but they're also not 20 years old anymore. You've got Jeremy DePoister and Mike Karonica, both in the Devil Wears Prada, who are taking over right now. They're on tour with August Burns Red right now, and that's a tour I was lucky enough to see them on. And I need to see them do a headline show. That was the first thing I said. As soon as we walked out of the venue, the first thing I said is, I have to see them in a headline show, see a full set. Because it was a 10-song set. They played all the bangers, and I needed to see more. So I was kind of disappointed I had then, but all good things have to come to an end. But the song, it's about 3.5 minutes, so we've got 3.5 minutes for this not to end. So without further ado, we're going to get into the Devil Wears Prada's brand new single off the deluxe version of Color Decay. It's called Ignorance. Sorry for the delay, but somebody decided to walk in at the exact wrong time, which is Exhibit A as to why it is very hard to put out content, because you never know when people are going to walk in the exact door, and then you're going to have to re-record. But we are now guests with Andrew Venzu, my trusty sidekick. And Andrew, you already know the gist. What's your one-word reaction when you hear the band, the Devil Wears Prada?
Greatness.
Okay, good enough. So without further ado, Devil Wears Prada, Ignorance. Shout out to Jeremy, by the way.
Help me, I need to get past this. I crave innocence.
In my opinion, if there's one reason why the Devil Wears Prada is so good and has been so good for so long, it's the fact that they have two vocalists who do the cleans and who do the harsh vocals. And Jeremy and Mike kill both of them to a absolutely phenomenal degree. And I think that's why they've stood the test of time and have been as good as they are for so long. And I think that's why now that they're not like this like huge like pure metal, like pure metal, and they're more of I'm trying to think of the word, of like a metal radio, or like a radio, or metal for the radio. I think that they work so well now because they have Jeremy DePoyser to do like the real clean vocals, and then you have Mike who comes in there, plays guitar, and he does some insane harsh vocals.
That's just what like makes a band great. Like when you think like all the bands you like your top bands, like they have two great. Like
I Prevail is like always number one that comes up. Wage War always comes up. And honestly, another band who's really good at it is Knock Loose with Brian, like doing like sounds like Mickey Mouse, and then you have Isaac Hale's deep voice doing all the call outs, especially live. If you haven't seen Knock Loose live, you need to see those two go at it on a microphone. It is insane.
And this band, they're
and
sick
Devil's
live.
Prada. So good. His voice in the background. And before we get to the chorus, this chorus is phenomenal. And they write, especially this last album, every chorus is a insane banger. And it all comes off the tongue. It's easy to sing. It's fun. And it's just really good. And that's what made Color Decay so good in the first place. And now that they're doing like this deluxe album and adding 2 new songs, it just makes it even better. Because that album with no deluxe version is already near perfect. And with these 2 songs, like I'm surprised that these 2 songs didn't make it. These 2 songs did not make it to the album, but like they deserve to be on the album. So I'm glad that they're finally being brought to light because these are 2 phenomenal tracks.
Yeah, this is only my second time listening to it, so this is still a new song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, awkward. It's especially cool too when like it's either Mike or Jeremy singing, and then like it's the other person has their voice like backed in the background, and it echoes in a completely different voice. It's so cool and so good. Like right there, the echo, perfect. Like the song feels triumphant.
Yeah.
Like, this is a song you listen to after you like conquered your mountain. fun. It's crazy to me that a song can feel so motivating, but like also fun. Like it feels like the first half of the song is like talking about like this like big thing you gotta do, and like in the back half is like you did it almost.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all, it makes perfect sense in my head. But that's what I get from it. I don't know how this song plus Reaching both didn't make the album.
They just dropped too many good bangers.
Exactly. Like they dropped it's 12 songs, I think. It's a 12-song album, and every single that is a no skip album.
Yeah.
Like it is perfect. It's probably the second best album. It's in my opinion the second best album that came out last year. Shout out to Motionless in White. That was phenomenal. But the fact that they left these two songs off just says how good that album is. So if you've never listened to Color Decay, or you've only skipped a couple tracks, you only know like Salt, Watchtower, and like all the singles they put out, you need to listen to that in full. And then as soon as you're done with that, listen to their new tracks, Reaching and Ignorance, and it'll tell you just how good that album is, that these two songs did not make the album. I'd say between the two songs that they released, between Reaching and this one, I'd say I like Reaching a little bit more, but like I'd give Reaching like a 9.7 out of 10. I'd give this like a 9.5, 9.6.
I've only listened to them both like probably 2 times, so I can't really pick yet.
They're both bangers.
I kind of like how like they didn't make like that they're not on the main album, because now like sometimes like it's been a while since the album dropped, and now we just get more of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
some fresh stuff.
Well, it's cool when like bands do deluxe versions for that exact reason.
Yeah.
So they stay relevant in like the news and stuff, and that way like they're always out there. There's more and like there's more popularity.
Yeah.
There's more press, and so you can get more buys. You can sell more T-shirts. You can go on tour more. You can sell more vinyl records. All that, and so I think a lot of bands who are doing deluxe version albums now are absolutely killing the game. And it's a reason that like a lot of bands are staying afloat and doing great. And Devil Wears Prada is just absolutely phenomenal. It was me and him who saw them back in March, and it was them and August Burns Red. And I am not the biggest August Burns Red fan. I knew one song going into that show, and don't get me wrong, very, very impressive and very good band. But Devil Wears Prada stole that show, especially Des Moines Live. If you haven't heard that, 10 out of 10.
Every song live was sick. They were really good.
Absolutely phenomenal. But that's all I have. You have anything to add?
I don't think so. Just listen to the Devil Wears Prada.
Exactly. Just do what he said. Always remember how to use my code on SeatGeek for $50 off your first purchase of $20 or more. Code macombmetalcore, all caps. And thank you guys for listening. And in a couple weeks, we'll be back in the studio. And so more content will be coming back in the real studio. Oh, boy. And you better come over and do some of these.
I've never done one there. That was all you.
Oh, yeah, it's a new studio.
That was all you.
Yeah. So the new studio is going to be fun. And so as soon as we get back to the new studio, expect more content, better quality. I don't like doing these on the couch, but it's what we got. It's what we got to do. But thank you guys for listening. If you guys made it this far, and if you didn't, then you're not even listening to me say this. So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Later.